Hello and welcome to the C Group podcast. So glad you could join us.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Well, you always join us.
Oh, okay.
You're always here. So, okay. So today we have the wonderful, amazing Miss Dionne Macon. Yay!
From the Tennessee State University.
Yes, HBCU. Yeah. And this is Black History Month, which, I mean, let's face it, Black History is 365 days a year, or because this is a leap year, 366 days a year. Don't forget. And so, Miss Dionne is going to tell us some interesting things about Black History 365.
Yeah, what is that?
So, what is that?
Yeah,
366.
366.
That was Black History 366 because it's a leap year this year.
Right, yes.
Okay.
So, I don't know where to start, but I guess I could start with me.
Mm-hmm.
That works.
I think we're all in the midst of history. History is every day.
Yes.
When it's gone, then it's history.
Yep.
And so we go through our lives and we experience things and we just go, oh, okay, whatever. And then we forget what happened until things remind us, because nothing is in isolation.
That's true.
And so I'm reminded of my TSU days back in the day when I was young. I'm not a kid anymore.
Oh, you're a kid at heart.
Some days
Sean.
I sit and wish I was a kid again.
I think
But-
we all do.
Yeah, but
Elmo taught us that. I'll digress. Go ahead.
those were words from which rapper was that?
I forget his name.
Okay,
Tupac.
no.
No.
Jamad or something like that.
Oh, Jamada Money?
Not him.
Not him, but that was good. That was good. That was good.
But when I was younger and I decided to go to the HBCU because I researched Oprah Winfrey and I knew I had to go where she went,
Uh-huh.
I
Makes sense.
made a trail to Tennessee State from Chicago, and I ended up in the middle of
Nowhere.
no, I was somewhere, and I was somewhere, but I realized that although I was at an HBCU, there was another strand of racism
Okay.
that I hadn't. I knew. I heard about it, but I was in the midst of one of
Never
those.
witnessed it before.
Yeah. Well, I had, but just not on the level,
Scale.
the
That
scale
scale.
of, you know, you have your Little Rock Nine who
Yeah.
had to integrate the schools, and you, of course, have
Ruby Bridges.
right? And so I'm watching these things unfold. I've seen it, but now I'm in the midst of going to college, and I went to an HBCU, so surely I don't have to endure what they had to endure.
Right.
It was reversed.
So you thought,
It was another. I was like, wait a minute. The government is saying that we have to be. Tennessee State has to be 50-50, meaning 50% black, 50% white by the year 2000, or we won't get any funding. They were taking funding away. They weren't doing anything for the facilities that we had to live in, and they weren't updating anything, and there was this big threat looming over everything. So we did sit-ins, which, you know, that's back in the 60s. I'm there in the 80s, going into the 90s,
right.
and this is still going on. So I happened to be one of the last people on campus. We were all kind of packing up for maybe spring break, maybe it was. I don't remember which break it was, but a reporter from the New York Times caught me. She's like, please, I need this. I can't find any other students on campus. We know that there's a big, you know, there's walkout sit-ins. We're trying to, you know, understand what's going on here. And so I asked not to be identified, because I finally said, okay, I'll give you the interview, because they were very desperate. Like, there wasn't anyone.
They needed somebody.
And it was, everyone left. Everyone just went home for the break, and you know, I was just kind of lingering around because I was trying to figure out where my financial aid was going to come from.
Right.
So anyway, I did the interview, asked to remain anonymous. And went home for the break, tried to contact the school because my financial aid wasn't processed. And I thought, okay, I know we do things a certain time at Tennessee State, but this is cutting into, I'm going to be, a junior, I need to be in my classes.
Yeah.
Right.
And so they're going to close and I don't have any money. So what do I do? So I finally get an appointment with the financial aid director, and they pull the article from under that little glass that's on that desk and ask me, are you Dionne Macon, a 21-year-old junior at Tennessee State University? And he's reading verbatim from the article.
Oh.
And I'm like,
So much for anonymity.
yeah.
Anonymity.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's the
Yeah.
word.
Well, let me tell you what they did. They spelled my last name wrong with one letter. That's what they call.
Are you serious?
I'm very serious. So
Well, that way he would know who you were.
one letter difference.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find this article for forever because I'm looking up my name. Like, how did he get that? Where does it?
Uh-huh.
And yeah. So they misspelled my name by one letter. Anyway,
Oh my goodness.
it was sad because they did not process my financial aid. Because of what I said in the article, which we have freedom of speech, and I didn't think
What you
that.
thought.
Well, right. I didn't think that I would have to participate in such. I didn't think I was going to have to be subject to such situations by just speaking up for myself and for others. Because what happened was the government gave white citizens the permission to go to the school for free. And we did a lot historically to work on those programs
You're
to
joking.
make them,
That's
world-renowned programs. And so, to watch people just come in and have 2.0s, GPAs,
Right.
and they can go to college for free.
Yeah.
And we're like watching our program slip through the cracks,
Wow.
we weren't getting accreditation was threatened because, you need to uphold these standards. And so, I just told the reporter what it felt like to watch students be able to go for free while I'm struggling to look for financial aid.
That's devastating.
Yeah, I'm not here. I don't live here. I'm not here, and I could just go down the street and go home.
Right.
I traveled here. This was a choice, and my point was, no one said they couldn't come. They can come. No, there's nothing in anywhere that says because you're white or anything you can't come to an HBCU. So I thought it was very unfair.
There was no equity. There was no equality about that.
No,
Yeah.
and so I spoke about it, and I spoke up about it, and of course I
Suffered for it.
Yeah, I suffered from it. But I would do it again if I had it to do again. I'm glad I said something about it. And being a teacher and educator, I was able to share that with students for, when they meet go through some atrocities or some things that feel unfair or make you feel out of sorts. What do? You use what you have to express yourself in decently and in order. I did not do anything out of order.
No.
The sit-ins were they were nonviolent. We were just trying to say, the conditions here are not what they need to be. We need certain conditions to be here under or to learn under. And, they're coming in under those conditions, and this is the only way we can get them is to,
Right.
we didn't say you couldn't come. And so that was, I didn't realize it then that I was making history or,
Right.
in the New York Times. I mean, that's big.
That's big, yeah.
And so I didn't realize that until later, much later in life, what impact that had on me to know that I could stand up for our rights. I didn't have to, be violent or anything. I
Right.
just told about my experience, what it was like, because there was no air conditioning. Like, it is hot as the dick.
Oh, you're talking about, yes.
In those buildings, standing in line, trying to get financial aid or whatever you're trying to get. And I mean, we were all on top of each other. I mean, football players to the band. So we all trying to get in school.
Wow.
And they had a separate line for white students to walk up to the administration window, and they would just look at their GPA and say, oh, you have a 2.0, you can register, go register. We're like, are you kidding me? Like, we're in this sweltering heat waiting.
How is it now?
They did,
Is it 50-50?
it
like
is
they
not.
want it?
No, far
I could've told you that.
from. Yeah, no, it's not 50-50. It is more, integrated, but then that time, but it's not 50-50 at all. And they did release funds. We ended up in a court battle, and
Okay.
so they did release funds. We did get enhancements to the campus. I'm very proud that we did sit in. Like the students now may not know that they are there, even though they have their own battle. Every generation has their own battle, but you have to figure out how you're going to move together. I didn't feel totally alone, even though I was alone. We had an SGA that was very instrumental in guiding us on how we were going to move together through that ordeal. A student government.
Okay.
Yeah, to help us, so we could unite and do things decently and in order and together. So, as Dr. King would say, organize.
Always.
Yep.
And if you don't have that in any history that you make, there's some pattern. Either there's some chaos and you're trying to bring some calm to that chaos, or there's a place for creativity. And I think definitely for our culture, for African Americans, if we are nothing else, we are creative.
Yes, we are.
And
every meaning of the word. Yes.
Nobody can take that from. I mean, it's just all in your bones and your blood. You can't help it. And so I would challenge people to really tap into their creativity and figure out how we can do things to come together. Because, like I said, every generation has its thing, and not just it's not just generational. It's all of us incorporating what our knowledge base and our creative juices, stirring up the gifts to really be who we are.
That's true.
To be, and not just potentially, but really be who we are to be. And connect with one another. And I think historically we look and we say, oh, that person did that, but everyone does something every day. When you get a chance to wake up every morning, you have the chance to make the history or do whatever. It could be a little thing to move things forward. One thing I do want to mention is, as a teacher of African American literature, I would always show my students this documentary called The Children's March. And
go ahead.
The Children's March would motivate these students to say, why didn't someone show me this sooner? I would have, because the youngest participant in the Children's March is like 4 years old. 3 or 4. He can't even say freedom. He's saying, I want my Tatum. Give me my Tatum. And so what the Children's March was in Birmingham. Oh God, we know back in the 60s.
We know back,
the most segregated town in the South. Where they have the police chief commissioner. He's riding around in this white tank and threatening and bullying all of the African American citizens. And Dr. King goes there. That's how we get the letter from the Birmingham jail. And what you see in the Children's March is the footage at the, and correct me if I'm wrong, is the 16th Street Baptist Church?
I think it is.
Where the 4 little girls were.
I think it was.
So they actually, he's in that church. This is, of course, before the bombing. And he's speaking to the congregation, and this footage of the congregation sitting there, and he's asking them to join him. This is after he's released from jail, and he's asking them to join him in, marching, and the parents, the adults are just sitting there like, I cannot do it. I have to see about my family. I have to continue. And the camera is going around the congregation, and you start to see the children stand up. And when the children stand up, Dr. King kind of moves to the side, and he says, I can't do this. I can't let the children know. So he kind of bows out of the movement for a minute. In the footage, they kind of say Dr. King is in the hotel room. He's not really involved because another young preacher came up and said he would organize those children, and boy did he organize those children. They came from near and far, and it was the DJ. You know how we always have to have that undertone. We have to have a way to communicate that everybody would understand what's going on, that needs to be involved in it, and those who don't need to be involved in it don't know what's going on. But so that there's that secret sauce right there. That
There you
DJ,
go.
the music.
Back to
He's
the music.
communicating with the
Always.
music.
Mhm.
He's got those young people, riled up, ready, not in a violent way. He's got the cheerleaders. He's got the football team. He's got every kid is coming out saying, "I'm going to jail. You going to jail? I'm going to jail," because
Yeah.
they are
Yeah.
ready to
They're
go.
ready.
And thousands of them were arrested. And when Dick Gregory joined the
Yep.
kids,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
they were just in the jail singing together. The females were over here and they would do a song, and then the males would do a song
Mhm. Nice.
right back, like call and response.
Mhm.
And that's how they made it through that time. And so I would always challenge my students to tell me what their generation would do now that they have these phones and they have
Right.
all
They
kinds of
can
ways
And
of
social
communicate
media
with
is
anybody.
yes.
and they, I just kind of get the juices flowing to see where their mind is, to kind of direct them into a place where they know they could be organized and safe and moving together in that, and it doesn't have to be. And even when they got sprayed with the hose, I don't know if you all remember
remember
that
seeing that.
the historical
historic
picture.
pictures, yes.
And that's those kids in Birmingham, and they're spraying them, taking the dogs on them.
Yep.
Do you know those kids came back the next day with their
Resilience.
swimsuits on,
Resilience.
going, "Come on,
Resilience.
bring it on,
Resilience.
bring it on, let us
Yeah.
have that water." So just if every child, if every adult, if every parent could find that creativity in themselves that can connect them to one another to move forward beyond whatever's going on here politically, whatever's going on here racially, that we start embracing one another and growing one another in that, and not in the deficit, not in the we're less than, or everybody has something to contribute good. Even if you have something, like in the video, they're talking to the firemen who had the hose. They're talking to the policemen. These are, and they thought, this is stupid. Why
Right.
do we keep interrogating little kids, asking them who told them to march?
So
And
change,
they
yep.
started seeing how stupid their actions
So
were.
change.
And so I recommend everybody watch
Yes.
the Children's March sometime in February and beyond,
Mhm.
and inspire your children. Show them what they can do. Look at how far we've come just from those children marching, and let's move forward.
Thank
I
you.
love
That's
and thank
beautiful.
that was good. Thank you so much. And Black history is history,
Yeah.
and it's not just history for 1 month. It's history every single day of the year.
366.
365, but 366 on a leap year.
Right.
And we have enjoyed you so very
Thank
much.
you. Thank
so
you for
very
having
much.
me. Thank you.
So that's all from us on the C Group Podcast. Thank you, Miss Dionne.
You're welcome.
And we will put this information, you'll see this information, because especially check out the Children's March, definitely.
Definitely.
You will not be disappointed.
Won't.
And before we leave with our sign off, just remember, history is there so we can learn from it, we can grow from it, and that we can make our future better than our past, and make our present something that we can be proud of as we go forward.
Yes, definitely.
So thank you all for joining us. It's been a pleasure. We are the Seed Group Podcast, and as always, plant a seed and watch it grow. Bye-bye.